Good evening, everyone. We'll call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, May 9th, 2024. I'd like to ask Charles Cochran from East Ridge Church of Christ if he'll come forward, provide our invocation, and lead us in our prayer. If everyone will stand.
Father, we're thankful that we can come to you in prayer to our Lord Jesus Christ, invoking your blessings, Father, upon our city council, Mayor Williams, and all of the men and women who serve on this council. We pray, Father, for decisions that are made that will be a blessing to the citizens of this great city that we love so much. Father, we want to thank you that we were kept safe during the storms last night. We realize that there are those in our great state who were not so blessed, and that there have been deaths and destruction of property as a result of these storms, not only here, but throughout many parts of our nation. Father, we want to pray tonight that you would help us always to look to you for the guidance that we need in all the decisions that are made. We pray for our nation. We pray for the nations of our world that are going through times of war and difficulty. We pray for a soon end to the wars that are around us in this world of ours. And that we can come to know the peace that comes through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Bless us, Father, in all things that we do. You'll be glorified in our lives. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Mayor Williams,
Here.
Vice Mayor Haynes, Councilmember Cagle,
Here.
Councilmember Tyler,
Here.
Councilmember Witt, City Manager Miller,
Here.
City Attorney Litchford.
Here.
All right, the next item we have on the agenda is the Milestone Awards for April. This is where we recognize our Milestone Service Awards for our employees. We have four for the month of April. Marcus Standifer, 5 years. Stacy Lively, 5 years. Johnny Massengale, 15 years. And Clint Usselton, 25 years. So we thank them for their service and dedication, and we appreciate them very much for their work and dedication. All right, we'll move on to the next item, which is the consent agenda. Assume everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes of the April 25th, 2024 council meeting and the declaration of surplus property, the police department vehicles. And I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Tyler and a second by Councilmember Whitt. Do we have any discussion or corrections? See none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes, Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Consent agenda approved. Moving to the next item, communications from citizens. This is an opportunity for any citizen to come forward and address the council with any questions, concerns, or accolades, and everyone will have 5 minutes. No one is signed in, but if there's anyone in the audience, this is your opportunity to come forward. I see no one. I will move to the next item, communication from council members. I'll start on this side. Councilmember Tyler.
Yes, the East Ridge Optimist Club is going to be having their food drive this Saturday on May 11th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. They're going to be posted up at the Southern Honda Power Sports. If anybody would like to make a food donation between now and then, there will be drop boxes at Southern Honda Power Sports, the East Ridge Public Library, the Champies on Ringgold Road, and the Hamilton Place YMCA. I'd also like to take this opportunity to remind the citizens of East Ridge, if they or anyone is in need of assistance, they can go to the East Ridge United Methodist on Prater Road on the first and third Wednesday at 10 a.m. To get assistance. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Witt,
Nothing at this time.
Vice Mayor Haynes.
I would just like to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day this Sunday.
Councilmember Cagle.
The only thing I've got to say is, Mr. Ray Hudgens, for the ones that don't know, he passed away this week. He will almost been 102 years old. He's a lifelong citizen of East Ridge. His funeral, believe, will be Friday about 11:30 at Chattanooga East. So just keep his family in your prayers.
Thank you, sir. All right. I have a few things. The library, I always like to talk about several of our departments. The Novel Idea Book Club is Saturday, May the 11th at 11 a.m. They also have Lego Club first Saturday of every month, 11:30 to 12:30, ages 6 to 11. Cooking the Books is last Monday of every month. That's a club for people who love to cook. They have monthly meetings, including recipes based on themes from the staff. Community Center, as Vice Mayor Haynes mentioned, Mother's Day. We wish everybody Mother's Day, a great Mother's Day, that they are having their Mother's Day tea party Saturday, May the 11th from 1 to 3. It's RSVP. I understand their space is getting very limited. I'm not sure if it is completely out, but I'm getting a nod it's completely out. Maybe a couple spots. So call quick and get registered for that. Parks and Rec, as I mentioned, always we have so much sports and other events, festivals, car shows, expos, so go check them out on their Facebook page or website. Also summer ball for kids 12 to 16. There's 2 leagues they're having, a league 12 to 14 and a league 14 to 16. So you can also visit eastridgeparksandrec.com. I want to mention also the festival again. You'll hear me every council meeting talk about it. We love to promote it. It's a great event. It's September the 28th, 10 to 5, Camp Jordan. Food, music, bounce houses, treats, games, and vendors, and so much more. The animal shelter. If you haven't been by there, go by and look. We've got some great pictures that staff's been taking and sending or posting for people to see. I know the roof is on and it's coming along well. We can't wait to see that open in a few months. And then also, I'm not sure if you're covering this or not, we also are in having a special adoption event Saturday, the 11th from 10 to 5 down at the current shelter, 1015 Yale Street. And also, Bissell Pet Foundation event is called Empty Shelters, and they're providing their waiver of adoption fees. And this is on our agenda, so we'll see that we will accept that or not. I would assume we will. We'll see. But they'll reimburse the city for the adoptions. So I'm very excited about that. And then Councilmember Witt and myself attended the East Ridge High School Senior Award Ceremony earlier today. It was incredible to see the awards, the scholarships, the grants that were presented to the seniors of East Ridge High School. I mean, there were tons of awards and scholarships and grants that was handed out. And I say that the future is extremely bright hearing the number of scholarships and awards that was presented. And the effort, dedication, commitment these students had put in was amazing. And so congratulations to the class of 2024 at East Ridge. I think that's all I have. I'll hand it over to Thrillville. Do you want to talk about it? I can.
I'd rather have, yes, Shauna, you've been helping them set up, so why don't you give us a brief update on Thrillville?
Sorry, Mayor and Council, microphone wasn't on yet. They are up and running. Chief Williams was down there with me at 7 o'clock this morning. We went through any damage, checked it out along with the park. They opened their gates at 5 today. They'll run until probably about 10:30 tonight. Same thing on Friday. So Monday through Friday, they are 5 to about 10:30. Saturday and Sunday, they open at 1 and they go to 11 or midnight. They have the big roller coaster this year? Yeah, they brought in a big double coaster that's in the back this year, so they actually brought a little bit more this year. So, but they do have everything at Thrillville.com, so you can check out their shows. Like they have the circus back in the arena this year that'll run tonight, where the talent was on America's Got Talent, and it's the kid that rides the motorcycle in the big drum and his dad. Then they have the dancing dogs and the daughter and the wife that dangle from the ceiling in like the little ring. So they've been they stay in the arena the whole time. So they have that set up. That shows at 6 and 9, and then like 2:45, 6 and 9 on the weekends. And Channel 9 is coming out in the morning with me and Cameron to go through all the events and stuff. This year they've added pig racing. They've added a petting zoo in the front. So they've added a lot more activities and rides and games this year.
And is it 10 days? Is that correct?
Yeah, they open this Thursday and they'll go through next Sunday. So,
Awesome.
and they're looking to expand, so.
Thank you. Thank you for the update.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is big.
Okay, I guess I'm next. All right. Got just a couple items here. Going to give a progress report on Ringgold Road multimodal project. We are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. This project is winding down. On April 24th, there was a walkthrough with the engineers, city staff, and Tally, and they're currently working the punch list items right now. And then the state will come in next week, do their walkthrough inspection, and hopefully we'll get this project completed and closed out. If not, end of May, by the middle of June. But we've got, all lanes are open. Second item I wanted to mention, the animal control. The mayor talked a little bit about it, but it is taking shape. Go over and take a look at it. It's all roofed in. The subs are working on the interior right now. They're doing electrical, their HVAC vents are being installed, and the plumbing lines are being installed also. It's taking shape, really looking good. And I would say that maybe another several months of work, but they've got it roofed in, so let it rain, they can still handle the work inside. It may take a little longer for the outside to dry out because they still have the site prep work to get done. And then I also want to mention on the multi-purpose pavilion, we are running on schedule. I think the council back in March gave the okay to proceed with the construction drawings. As of the other day when we met with HK Architects, they are 50% complete with the construction drawings, and they're looking to get this out to bid the middle to the end of July. So this project is rolling.
Awesome.
That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. All right, we don't have any old business, so we'll move into the next item is new business, and it is item A, public hearing for resolution number 3541.
This is public hearing, Resolution 3541, a resolution of the East Ridge City Council to approve a use on review for a variance to the city sign ordinance number 1028 for Lexi Haney, representing Sterling Heights Apartments, to install an off-premise directional leasing sign in the right-of-way at the intersection of Germantown Road and Gleason Drive.
Thank you, sir. I'll open up this public hearing, and Ms. Trowell, do you want to come forward and brief us on it? Then I will actually entertain anyone that would like to come forward in favor of or in opposition.
So yes, Mayor and Council, so recently Sterling Heights Apartments did a renovation of approximately $2.6 million on all the existing buildings on the site. And they're needing some additional exposure to the building, which is very hard to see where they're located on Gleason Drive. They proposed a two-sided off-premise sign located at the corner of Gleason and Germantown Road. This is within the city right-of-way. The proposed sign height of the sign is 6 foot by 4 foot with a total of 24 square feet. Keep in mind, this East Ridge City Ordinance requires the following for all off-premise signs. Anything smaller than 75 square feet requires a 10-foot setback from any public right-of-way. Off-premise signs shall not be located with 300 feet of any residential, 750 feet of any park, school, church, cemetery, or historical district, or government building. The proposed location of this sign is within an R1 district. Sign does set within 300 feet of the residential structure and the residential district. and 700 feet within a church. An off-premise sign located within 1,000 feet of any other off-premise sign shall not be on either side of the road. Currently, Germantown or Garden Apartments has an off-premise sign within the city right-of-way, and this sign of Germantown Garden Apartments sets approximately 400 feet from the proposed location of this sign. If approved by this body, staff would recommend that the sign supports for this sign be enclosed to mimic a monument-style sign, which the city already has in its ordinance. Also, to follow the setback requirements of 10 feet from the right-of-way. There is a directional arrow on this sign that is technically not allowed in the city ordinance. Those are for on-premise directional signs only, so they'd have to revamp that to remove the arrow from it.
Thank you, sir. Is the applicant here? Would you like to come forward? You don't have to, but if you'd like to come forward and introduce yourself, give us your name and address, and if you would like to add anything additional?
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Zach. Hey, Mike.
Hey, bud.
Zach Classen with Pratt Home Builders. He described it very well. There's a corner lot that, as far as we can tell, isn't being used for, many other purposes. It's kind of a weird little diagonal there on the edge of the road. We're just, like you said, not getting much exposure. We spent a good amount of money trying to turn that place around. I know it was a little bit of a dump before, and I think we've turned it into something pretty nice, and we'd just like to get a little bit more street presence, because Germantown's really, really busy, and there's absolutely nothing down there that would point you to our development at all. We get a lot of traffic on our other multifamily stuff from just signage on the front of our property. So that's all we're trying to drive. If we need to revise an area, we can absolutely do that. We work with getting a sign up there however we need to get it.
Thank you, sir. All right, is there anyone in the audience that would like to come forward at this time during the public hearing in opposition or in favor of, that would like to comment? I see no one. We'll move to the resolution if council has some questions here in just a second, but I'll go ahead and close this public hearing, then we'll move into the actual resolution number 3541.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council to approve a use on review for a variance to the city sign ordinance number 1028 for Alexi Haney, representing Sterling Heights Apartments, to install an off-premise directional leasing sign in the right-of-way at the intersection of Germantown Road and Gleason Drive.
Council, I normally ask for a motion, but if there's any questions, I'll go ahead and entertain those, and then we'll move.
Yeah, do we need to
Or if
amend,
anybody wants to motion.
do we need to amend to include the staff's recommendations?
Don't necessarily, I don't think you have to
Not to
amend, you
amend
just
it,
make the
when you-
motion to
When the original
include it.
motion comes out,
we
you
had-
can
we
make
don't-
that observation.
Because we don't have a motion yet.
I have a question. Did you say the base is gonna be stone? Since it's a-
It will have to mimic some of the facade that's already at the apartment complex. They do have an on-premise sign that does have a stone base to it. I mean, technically, this could either be designed as a ground sign or a monument sign with that type of a stone base, or not having a stone base.
I would like it to look nice, the stone base.
So as long as they meet the guidelines, the stipulations you're putting on there, then you recommend it, the staff recommends it.
Yeah, it's a very unusual right-of-way right there, very large. The city's been taking care of it for many years. Just up the road, Germantown Garden Apartments has a sign similar to this one, except the posts are exposed, but it's in the right-of-way as well. I couldn't find any information how or when it was approved by city council on that one, but yeah, I mean, regardless of this is an off-premise sign, it would have to follow the sign standards for a base, whether it be a ground sign, or if Councilwoman Esther would like to see a stone base on it, then we can move that.
Need to maintain that right of way or the,
We have, yes, for many years.
So if I understand you correctly, the setback in the foundation requirement is part of the standard, so it doesn't necessarily need to be in the motion.
It does not. That would be
Okay.
something that, what was presented to you tonight is not what I would approve. Let's put
Okay.
it that way. If this body approves this use on review and it comes back to me, then the sign will have to be changed to meet our standards, the city of East Ridge standards.
Okay. To answer your question.
Thank you.
So if we make a motion to approve, as long as it meets the East Ridge City standards, is that the kind of motion we would make?
Well, I think you just make a motion to approve. It will be required to follow the standards.
Yes.
Correct.
They're already built into ordinance 1028, yes, ma'am.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 3541. 3541.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Tyler. Do we have any additional discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is this gonna be a lighted sign?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir, Mr. Cagle.
No, we pushed it back. I had my engineers look at it, and they're pretty picky about that kind of stuff, so it's pushed back and out of the way of any cars or any line of sight.
He remodel, if he takes the arrow off of it, he's gonna bring it back down to the ground? Or are you gonna put it on a monument?
Go ahead and come up front so we can hear you clearly. To microphone.
I'm sorry, what was the
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna have to remove the arrow from this picture we've got here.
Yep.
So are you gonna lower it down to the ground, or are you gonna put it on a monument and leave it at the height that's showed in this picture?
It sounds like I've got a little bit of revising to
Yeah.
the design anyway, so that's something, do I need to go back and forth with you on that?
It is,
On the final design? Okay. So I would assume we make it a little bit shorter, take the arrow off, add stone to the bottom, you know, we're gonna build a monument sign really instead of put post and panel, is what it sounds like to me, right?
What is the max height it can be, 9 foot?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They're well within the parameters of the requirements for signage size.
Any other questions?
Just that it, you know, the sign is not preventing line of sight when you're pulling out there. I know Gleason and Kathy, particularly when you pull out on Germantown there, it can be kind of one of these numbers where you have to crane around. You know, as long as people have line of sight, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, as long as I get notification on this before any type of footing is poured on, I'll come out and look at it and make sure it meets the setback requirements. There's no visual impairment in there at that corner, so.
Would it be beneficial that you did, or they'd have to take it down and move it?
Yeah, it's most beneficial to them, yeah, to call me first, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we can put all those lines and graphs on the paper that we need to, before we start digging the footer.
Awesome. Any other questions? See none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3541 approved. Thank you. We'll move to item C, resolution number 3542.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council approving a bid for construction of a multi-use mountain bike trail and pedestrian trail at Camp Jordan Park.
Ms. Collins?
Yes, Mayor and Council. The Parks and Rec Department accepted sealed bids for the bike and pedestrian trail project at Camp Jordan Park on April 17th at 2:30 p.m. 5 bids were received. We had tailored trails for a 10-foot was $301,639. For a 6-foot cut path would be $266,143. Lumberjacks came in at $38,488.52. Martin's Land Clearing came in at $18,500. Rough Cut Trails Design came in at $322,800. And then Trail Crew is what I'm assuming is $129,888 for a 10-foot. At this time, staff does recommend approval of the lowest bid, which was Martin's Land Clearing for the amount of $18,500. Once this project is approved and completed, we will have fulfilled the requirements of the TDEC portion of the conversion of Camp Jordan. Now, at the last council meeting, Councilmember Cagle did ask about the WWTA. City Attorney Litchford did send us paperwork on that. And once WWTA has completed their project there on the acreage that we sold them, they will have 120 days at that point to cut us a path, a nature path, not trail or bike, a nature path that would be 10 foot wide and only 875 feet to connect to what we have now. Per our TDEC requirements for the conversion, we must have this completed within the next 15 months. And that was from August 4th of 2022. We have 3 years to complete that. So with that, we have to take and we have to develop the bike and the walking trails. And then from that, which was in our bid, we also have to provide them with an on-site, as-built site plan, which the developer will, or the trail guy will do once he's cutting. That will then complete our project. City Attorney Litchford and myself have reached out to ASA just to make sure, but we do have all of our, excuse me, like for instance, we had to check and make sure that we didn't have any endangered species back there. We didn't have any plants. All of that was done by ASA back in 2022 and 2023. That paperwork was sent to City Manager Miller, but we are double checking with ASA. But at this point with TDEC, all we have to do is cut those trails, submit an on-site plan, and we're done. The conversion is complete. If we do not complete the conversion, then we will be ineligible for any more TDEC grants, like the LPRF that built the playground and the splash pad and what we're doing now for the center. Just so we've been working on this all week, so that way
Right.
y'all are informed and I got your question for you. And I can send you, Mr. Miller actually found all that paperwork and gave me a whole file that I've been reading through this week, so.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3542.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 3542.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Tyler and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion?
I've got one question.
Mhm.
All of these bids were just for clearing the land?
Yes.
That's a big discrepancy from 18,000 to 301,000.
So at the last meeting, I tried to explain that a little bit. You have 3 of the companies are true trail building companies. So they're looking at going back there, putting bridges, a little bit of everything when you build an actual trail. That's not what we want back there. I mean, that's completely in the floodplain. We're not going to put bridges. We're not going to put overpasses there. When we met just a couple of years ago with some of the people that were building the South Chickamauga Creek Greenway and doing the connection, it was at $700 a foot to build. And I was like, what? So, again, Lumberjacks and Martin's Land Clearing, to build what we need back there, which is what we already have now with the 2-mile trail that's in the park, we're going to clear it. We're going to go through clear trails. We're going to make the little curves and stuff and make the indentions for the bike, and we're going to connect it to what we have now, and then every few years we'll have to go back through there and cut. And that will be a natural surface trail like we have now. But again, when you get into the other trail companies, they look at putting, you have those boxes, or it's like plastic or the more heavy-duty grading that you can put down and then put rocks in it, which creates a trail. Or you have the bridges and the overpasses, a lot of different things that you can build an actual trail with that cost, again, about $700 a foot. So
they actually bid, well, their bid is not what we asked for.
it was a design build, so it was open to interpretation for them to come back and tell us what they wanted to do. Because TDEC did not require any other thing but that. So we did a design build so that, again, the little man or the bigger company, either one could bid on it. And when I met with Martin's Land Clearing, he's been out there about 5 times. He's already brought his side-by-side. He's rode the property. He has the equipment to mark the on-site plan that we need. And I've also brought him out there with TDEC to go through the property too, so that we can try to see what we can avoid and still get this done in a timely manner. Because it'll probably be 2 more months before we can even start cutting until we kind of dry out a little bit. And I did bring something for you to see. I was going to show him the path, so he has it.
Just to remind everyone, that part of the conversion, when we carved out the arena up there, we had to, or the stadium type area, the soccer field, we had to then supplement additional recreational activities. So when we acquired this land, there's a perfect opportunity for us to put the bike trails and things like that to offset or to meet the requirements that TDEC is requiring us to have some additional recreational activities to replace the ones that we carved out with, even though it's still going to be used, it was their requirement. So, awesome. Any other questions? See none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt. Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3542 approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item D, resolution number 3543.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council approving a cost analysis for general operating supplies, equipment, and appliances for the new animal shelter.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McAllister.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We went over this a little bit 2 weeks ago, but I wanted to bring this back before the council for approval. It's the cost analysis for the new animal shelter. Councilman Cagle had a question on the attached analysis regarding the chest freezers, the small and large chest freezers. I did go back through that. I don't think you guys have an updated copy of the analysis, but I did verify the pricing and it is cheaper. I think there was a mishap in the numbers where the small freezer was more expensive than the large one on the analysis, but we have looked through that. It is cheaper. Staff and I met with MBI today to go over this analysis one more time before we had it approved. We talked about the appliances that would be included in the purchase for the commercialized washer and dryer, as well as the commercial dishwasher. If you go through here, you will see the breakdown of the analysis includes office furniture, sanitary cleaners, any general operating supplies, as well as the larger enclosures for the animals, feline and canine, and then all of the other appliances that would be supported in the purchase. So we're just asking for approval not to exceed $40,000, and the total cost analysis that's included is for $37,633. Funding. I'm sorry. What did I say?
The funding's coming out of the contingency for this project.
There you go.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, council, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3543.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 3543.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Vice Mayor Haynes and a second by Councilmember Whitt. Do we have any discussion?
This will be bid out.
Under the city's purchasing and procurement procedures and policies, part of the purchasing will be bid, but anything that's under the threshold that we can purchase will be purchased through any manufacturer or vendor that we found.
Any other questions? I have, maybe it's a statement, maybe it's a question. So I asked this the other time about everything's going to be left down there. We're not bringing anything other than the animals and staff.
Correct.
I know we've got records, right? But there's going to be records that's going to be transferred. So
They're
I see that
electronic.
they're all electronic. We have no paper records or anything?
Correct.
Okay.
The
I saw
only-
file cabinets. I wanted to say, if we're emptying file cabinets, we got it.
No,
You understand my concern?
you're correct. They're electronic records. The only paper files that we're doing right now is, we'll talk about it in a minute, is the Bissell Pet Foundation. We're required to do paper surveys, but that's for this week and this week only.
Okay. That's all my question. All right. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3543 approved. We'll move to item E, resolution number 3544.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council approving a bid for the replacement of the CGM controller and CNE engine to control the administrative RTU HVAC system at City Hall.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mayor. City of East Ridge solicited bids for the replacement of the controller units and the upgrades to the HVAC system for City Hall. We received one proposal, and we were expecting one from Johnson Controls. They did not submit a proposal. The one we did receive was from Dakin Applied Americas, Inc. They are a worldwide provider of advanced high-quality AC and heating solutions. Therefore, they certainly have the experience. At the present time, they are working on Hamilton County buildings in regard to their HVAC systems and installing one at Silverdale at the present time. What they will be doing is upgrading our licensing and components in the existing Honeywell panel, as well as replacing all the zone controllers and sensors that will work with the upgraded panel. Any obsolete components will be removed and disposed of. We have 5 zones right now. Each zone has a damper it will be controlled by the system. It won't be mechanical. It will be tied in with the computer system that we'll have to be able to control with the phone, laptop, or tablet. Their cost for this whole proposal is a quote of $36,742.98. Funds are available, the Capital Improvement Fund for upgrades to buildings for the 23-24 budget year.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3544.
Make a motion to approve resolution 3544.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Tyler and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I notice here it's got a 1-year maintenance service.
Yes, sir.
How long is the parts and everything guaranteed for?
Warranty, 1 year.
1 year? Okay.
Any other questions? Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. So the compressor and stuff, it's still just 1 year? It's not any longer? Nope? Okay. All right. No other questions? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3544 approved. We'll move to item F, resolution number 3545.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council authorizing the finance director to execute an engagement letter with HHM Certified Public Accountants for auditing services for fiscal year 2023-2024 as required by the state of Tennessee and other regulatory agencies.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Qualls?
Yes, as I said at the last meeting, it's time again to do a budget, to do an audit. I'm thinking budget. As you know, the price has gone up this year, but there's more and more that our auditors are being required to do by state law. And you always hear us talk about Gatsby and all the rules. This is the book, okay? This is the Gatsby book. We call it the Blue Book. And in the last 4 years, they have done Gatsby 87, where they've had to add leases, 94, which is about public-private partnerships. Gatsby 96 is about your subscription-based infrastructure, where we have to account for any kind of software maintenance agreements we have. And then they've got a new one that's going to come out on the 15th of June, which is certain risk exposure, because the government all over the United States wants government accounting to be very, very transparent. And also, like I said, they'll have to do 2 single audits. The multimodal, again, because we're pushed over $1 million, and then the ARPA, which is our federal money, and we are required to have a single audit for that also. And so those are very intensive. There are not as many accounting firms doing governmental accounting now because there's so many requirements. So I'm just asking that y'all approve them to do it one more time.
Thank you, ma'am. Council, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3545.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 3545.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Tyler. Do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
I'm not a bookkeeper, so you said we're gonna have 2 audits. I see a single audit here for 10,000, so is that times 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's, then we've got an
5,000.
engagement fee for 38.5, so what is an engagement fee?
That is actually doing the actual financials, the regular, the audit.
The regular audit?
Yeah, the audit.
General operating funds.
General
Okay.
operatings, all that, what he presented. Then you have the single audits that are required by the federal and state governments. And then you have what I told you is a crosswalk, is where they're converting your general ledger numbers. So where, when they're doing economic impact information about how much money cities spend, that they'll be able to have it where they know every city, every county, every school system, every utility. Because when they're out trying to get new business, bringing in new industries and stuff, that's how they sell how strong we are, and that's what keeps Tennessee to have such a high bond rating, is because of the transparency and the fact that they can show how strong our cities, counties are.
All right. Now, one audit is 10,000. So you say we might have to have 2?
That's for 2 audits.
Oh, okay,
They're
okay.
5,000
okay.
apiece.
5,000 apiece.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions? So I do have one. So the crosswalk, is that, are we gonna have to change our accounting structure? Or is this more of just a cross-reference to map to the state's chart of accounts?
Yeah, our auditors have to take our accounting software. A lot of the numbers are the same that we use, but then cities and utilities have more numbers than
Right.
counties do. So what they do is they take our numbers, convert them into where they need to be, into the comptroller's crosswalk program.
Okay. That's what I figured. I just wanted to confirm. Thank you. If no other questions, roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3545 approved. We'll move to item G, resolution number 3546.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council authorizing the mayor to execute the attached contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation for the city of East Ridge to provide mowing services at the I-75 Exit 1 interchange for fiscal year 2024-2025 on a reimbursement basis.
Thank you, sir. Is this
Yeah,
Ms. Middleton or Mr. Miller?
I'll handle it. This is the mowing of exit 1. I think the $9,800 is what we've been receiving for the past 4 or 5 years. And they say for 6 mowings, but we do a couple more than that. Not to necessarily manicure all of exit 1, but at least to make it look presentable with people coming into Tennessee and people coming into the city of East Ridge. So the $9,800 is basic amount, doesn't cover our costs entirely, but we need to accept it. I don't think we're going to get any more. We've tried in the past.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3546.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 3546.
Second.
A motion approved by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Tyler. Do we have any discussion?
I don't have no question, I just have a statement. Mr. Miller is right. We did put it out for bid here, I don't remember if it's last year, year before last, and the bid come back plumb ridiculous, so, I mean, it was pitiful, so.
I should note too that it doesn't cost the cost of a mower too, and the mower is in the budget this year for a replacement mower for, I think it's $14,000 or $16,000 that we need. The mower we have now is 7 years old. We got to replace that, but we try to make it look nice because they're coming into Tennessee, but also coming into East Ridge.
Yes, I agree. But if you don't accept it, it's $9,800 we could have had and didn't. It'd be nice though they give you a fuel surcharge with the increase of fuel, but
In the fuel, it's the
anyway.
labor and the part, the
well,
equipment.
it's, yeah, it's all, I agree. All right, no other questions or statements. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes, resolution number 3546 approved. Move to item H, resolution number 3547.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council to waive the fee for use of Dickert Pond at Camp Jordan by the East Ridge Optimist Club to hold a fishing rodeo.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Skiles?
Yes, Mayor and Council. The East Ridge Optimist Club, a 501c3, I had this right, 501c4, has requested use of Dickert Pond at Camp Jordan to host their annual fishing rodeo for kids. The event will be from 7 to 2 p.m. on June 8th of 2024. David Tyler, a representative of the East Ridge Optimist Club, is asking for the city to waive fees associated with renting the equipment and the pond for the day. The total rental fees would have been about a $125 for the day and $0 for the pond. This event is free to the community, and the Optimist Club uses sponsors to pay for all fishing supplies and food for the day. The Optimist Club has met all requirements of the facility waiver policy set in 2023. All required paperwork is on file with the city recorder. Staff does recommend waiving fees in support of this event.
Thank you, ma'am. Council will entertain a motion for resolution number 3547.
I make a motion to approve resolution 3547.
We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Vice Mayor Haynes. Do we have any discussion?
Just one. Your paperwork says the event runs from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm. That's what was on the paperwork.
Yeah, that's what time will we arriving to set up. The event will actually start at 8 a.m.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
No, I'm just going off what was written on the paperwork y'all turned in.
One that I submitted.
Yep.
Thank you, Shauna.
You're welcome.
Any other? See none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Abstain.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes, resolution number 3547 approved. We'll move to item I, resolution number 3548.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council approving the acceptance of the American Water Charitable Foundation Water and Environmental Grant.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McAllister.
It's time for Andy's favorite event again. It is the 2024 Tennessee River Rescue. City administration is asking for the approval from mayor and council for the it's actually the American Water Charitable Foundation Tennessee funding for the Water and Environmental Grant. It's a mouthful. But this year they awarded the city of East Ridge $2,000 to go towards this event. That goes for any expenditures associated with this event. So trash grabbers, hand sanitizer, t-shirts for volunteers, prizes, anything that we can do to incentivize volunteers to come and set up and hang out and help clean up Spring Creek. However, this year was a little bit differently. They required local governments to partner with a nonprofit to apply and accept the awards. So the city has partnered with Waterways of Chattanooga. The check will be written to Waterways, and then they will write a check to the city for this amount. But we're asking for the approval from the mayor and council to accept this award.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3548.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 3548.
Second.
Have a motion to approve by Councilmember Witt and a second by Councilmember Tyler. Do we have any discussion?
I would like to thank the East Ridge ROTC because they make this a success every year. So we do appreciate that, their support.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I got one.
Yes, sir.
Does this thing need to be amended because, we're not actually receiving it from the Tennessee American Waterway, we're receiving it from the
Waterways of Chattanooga.
Waterways of Chattanooga, so we're not receiving it from the Tennessee American, they are.
I will add that it's a co-application, so it says City of East Ridge and Waterways, and the check will be written to Waterways of Chattanooga, City of East Ridge. They just have to accept it because they're the nonprofit.
I'm comfortable with the language of the resolution as is.
He's comfortable with the language of the
Okay.
resolution as is.
With what Mr. McAllister added, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. Awesome. Any other questions? I see none. Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3548 approved. We'll move to item J, resolution number 3549.
A resolution of the East Ridge City Council accepting the Bissell Pet Foundation's Empty the Shelters Grant Program.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McAllister.
Yes. So we're asking for the approval from the mayor and council to accept this grant award from the Bissell Pet Foundation. They have awarded a grant program to the city of East Ridge for their Empty the Shelters program. It's running from May the 1st, 2024 to May the 15th. Any animal that's adopted within that period is eligible for free adoption to the general public, and then the agency is reimbursed by the Bissell Pet Foundation. So this year, East Ridge Animal Services is participating in the event. They will be offering free adoptions from May the 6th through May 15th, and then they're having a special adoption event this Saturday, May the 11th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the existing shelter. So this year, we were offered a $50 reimbursement fee per dog that is adopted, and then a $20 reimbursement for cats. So the final grant award won't be determined until after the adoption event to determine how many animals were adopted, but we're asking the mayor and the council to accept this award so that we can accept the application for whatever amount is determined later on.
Thank you, sir. Council, I'll entertain a motion for resolution number 3549.
I make a motion to approve resolution 3549.
Second.
A motion to approve by Councilmember Tyler and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? Yes, sir.
Cameron, did you say from May the 1st to May the 15th?
So the Empty the Shelters event is hosted by Bissell Pet Foundation, and it's running nationwide the 1st through the 15th. However, East Ridge Animal Services is only offering it the 6th through the 15th because the Bissell Pet Foundation requires us to only have this event hosted, and they had already participated in a pet details event on May the 4th. So we had to wait until after that event.
Any other questions? I didn't see one, and I assume there's not, but no cap on the,
There is no cap. Nope, they want us to empty the shelter.
good. That's what I thought. I just wanted to ask.
And we do too.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. All right, no other questions? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Haynes.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler.
Yes.
Councilmember Witt.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Resolution number 3549 approved. We'll move to item K, item K. Okay, fiscal year of the budget presentation.
This will be the presentation for the 2024-25 budget presentation by the city manager.
You're on.
Thank you.
Give us the news.
All right, give you a lot of news. You have the budget document in front of you. And we have on the one on the right, okay. Page 1. All right, this is the fiscal year budget that starts July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Look at the bottom of page 1, you'll note that the revenues we're looking at, property taxes of $7,157,579. Our total revenue scheme coming in at $27,265,597. Property taxes basically represent 26% of that total amount. I do want to point out that the incremental state sales tax, that's the border region tax. That's what we are anticipating the city of East Ridge to receive in September of 2024. $8,597,436. Page 2, look at our expenditure side. Total personnel services, $12,581,431. Then you've got operations, material supplies, capital outlay, debt payments on the capital outlay, and we get transferred to other funds, debt, we'll get into that in a little while. Transfer to other funds, these are the border region payments that we make to those businesses that the city has development agreements with. I think there are about 17 businesses we have that with. And then it transfers to capital improvement fund of $276,657, which make the total appropriations $27,265,597. So your revenues equal your expenditures. Moving further down, page 2, we've got 9 separate funds. Each fund is a separate accounting entity with revenues and expenditures. And we'll go briefly through these funds, but right now we're on the general operating fund, which pretty much funds the majority of the services that we provide to our residents. I did make note of the proposed all funds budget, just for your clarification. If you add everything together, we're looking at a total budget 2024 to 2025 proposed at $46,452,27. That represents a net decrease of $1,813,591 from the approved budget of 23-24 of $48,265,618. You have the breakdown there. You notice the general fund has shown an increase. The state street aid fund shows a decrease predominantly because we used a good part of our fund balance in the state street aid fund for resurfacing this past year. And the other ones are low until we get down to the ARPA fund. You'll notice that we had $4,141,710 at the beginning of the fiscal year of 23-24, and we're going next year with only $436,171. We'll note, though, that we've had some projects, one of them being the animal control or animal shelter for East Ridge being built. So at the end of that project and the end of some of the appropriations that we made to the Ringgold Road multimodal, we're going to end up with $436,171. These are unaudited, but that's what we project. Going into the general fund on page 3, what does that? It is a service organization. That's what we are. We provide a service to the residents. We do not produce widgets and sell them. Services include the general administration, police protection, fire protection, animal services, economic development, building maintenance, building inspection and codes, municipal court, street maintenance, traffic control, public parks and facilities, recreation programs and activities, and library. So let's talk a little bit about our property taxes. We were told and issued in August of 2023, our total assessed value for residential, commercial, and personal property, $538,071,049. For the period 23-24, this fiscal year, the residential assessments increased a total of $3.8 million, rounded off. This was due to home sales and new residential construction. Our residential homes, when they sell, are selling at a higher price, of course, and people are making a very healthy profit. Commercial assessments slightly increased a total of only $969,160. I reported to you on May 1st that we were looking at a $435,000 loss. That was basically due to assessment appeals that were granted, duplex that were moved from a 40% to a 25% assessment. If an owner-occupied duplexes are assessed at 25% if the owner lives in one side of the duplex. If the owner rents both sides, it's 40. It's designated as commercial, and it's assessed at 40%. We also had a pilot that we issued to TPC And then there was some property acquired by the governmental entity. Anyway, that ended up with only an increase, total increase of $969,160 due to new commercial construction. Now, we have a lot of new commercial construction going out there, but what made the list? What made the list to add to the commercial assessments was the Park Ridge Hospital addition, the Cube Smart Self-Storage, Twin Peaks Restaurant, the new emergency clinic over on Park Ridge, over on Camp Jordan Parkway, and portion of, it was not added in here, but this was added on an update from the county, the addition of Twin Peaks Restaurant, as well as a portion or half of the stadium over there where the Red Wolves play. So when we look at the total of all this, what does all this mean? We ended up with a grand total of $551,989.638 for residential, commercial, and personal property. However, this is a discount year. Property appraisals must be discounted on the personal property assessment 30%. So because of that, we see a downgrade of about $4.7 million. So turning to page 5, we end up with an assessed value as of today, $543,475.828, or $828. A proposed tax rate of 1.25 gives us a collection with a collection rate of 98%, gives us estimated anticipated property tax revenue of $6,657,579. How does that compare to last year? Well, it's only increasing our taxes, property taxes increased based on our increases in our commercial, our residential, personal property. We end up with a net $66,209. That's on the low side. However, we got a lot of positives on our valuation coming up in the next fiscal year. Got a lot of growth coming on, and I made reference to some of these. Urban Story Ventures coming on, Panda Express, Candlewood Suites Hotel, Homes 2 Suites Hotel. Both of those hotels come on to tax rolls in the next month. We've got Scooters in adjoining commercial building, Easy Auto Motorcycle Shop, JDH Roofing under construction, Camping World going to rebuild the portion that had a fire a year ago. Chattanooga Dental Arts going across or next to Jack's, former Wally's Residential, BB&T, Exit 1 Retail, expansion 4.35 acres. We have the Graston Residential Development, 661 single-family attached homes. That's under site development, development now. Hummingbird 2 Residential, about another 84 single-family homes. So this is not all going to come under construction over the next year, but a lot of it will. And a lot of the commercial will, because most of them that I mentioned on here, except for the service, like JDH and the dental, are all retail businesses, and they want to qualify for the border region, participate in that financial incentive program, and they have to be completed with their costs ready to be submitted to the state by June 30th of 2027. So we have some bright side on this. Other revenues that we're looking at, this would be less the property taxes of $7.157 million and the border region at 8.5. We end up with a plus $1,273,000 in additional revenue. Primarily your sales taxes, your building, and your recreation actually increased their programs and rentals $115,000 from last year to this fiscal year. Local option sales tax, state sales tax anticipate to yield an estimated $1.140 million and $126,000 respectively, due to the anticipated and significant increase in retail sales throughout the city, most particularly from our retail businesses. Some of the other increases are noted further down on page 4 for 2004, 2024, 2025 projected over 22-23 budget year. The alcoholic beverage tax is showing an increase. We will anticipate $40,000 more on that one. Our building increase from this fiscal year to next fiscal year, an increase of $30,000. Recreation program fees, I mentioned, $115,000. That's a huge, huge participation in programs and league plays. Now, we're not talking about hundreds of kids. We're talking about thousands. We did have 2 decreases. Municipal court fines and fees had to decrease $75,000. Just too much of overestimation of the fees and fines levied by the court system. This is a lot more reasonable than what we've had in there before. And our rent for the cell tower, we received a $30,000 one-time fee when we renewed with the cell tower. So the general fund balance, just to mention, several weeks ago, we had the auditor through the audit for the period July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. The unassigned fund balance was totaled at $11,846,719. We anticipate an additional $1.2 million unaudited to complete this fiscal year, which would give us a grand total of over $13 million of a fund balance for the general operating fund. We do have to take the fire truck out of there because that was one that we weren't anticipated, but we wanted to put down a 50% down payment on that. That one will not come due for about another year. And then at that time, we'll be looking to make the final payment. So that's going to reduce the general fund balance down to unaudited figures of $12,739,000. Going to expenditures. Our expenditures are anticipated or projected, expected fiscal year 24-25 over fiscal year 23-24 approved of $1,173,637. Break down those in regard to personnel, operating, and capital. Personnel costs, if you exclude the $8 million amount that we get on the border region, you eliminate that. Personnel costs consist of 66% of the total general operating fund. We are, again, a service-oriented organization. Total personnel proposed for fiscal year 2024-2025 is 155 full-time positions and 24 part-time positions. That is 1 full-time position more than the previous year. So from this current fiscal year we're in now to the new fiscal year, it starts July 1st, we'll be eliminating some positions, and we're also going to add some positions, but the net is going to be 1 full-time position, and I'll get into that right next. Under personnel services, we're taking 3 firefighter engineer positions are being proposed. We're going to promote 3 existing firefighters, 2 firefighter engineer positions to adequately staff our drivers for the trucks. In the recreation department, we are going to add 1 arena attendant position to handle the increase in events and programs scheduled at the arena, and an additional 1 groundskeeper position to provide extra manpower to mow and maintain the soccer and baseball fields. These 2 positions we are not looking to add to our payroll until January 1st, 2025. So we're going to have a half a year for this fiscal year, and then 25-26 they'll be on full time. Animal control department, we are reclassing our part-time animal control person to a full-time, so we'll have 4 full-time individuals operating. We're going from a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot facility to a 48 square foot facility, increasing our kennels up to 30 for dogs, and I think 20 or so for cats, 22 for cats. So we're going to need a person almost there full-time taking care of that, and then the other 3 out in the throughout the city. We're also in the police department. We're looking at the elimination of 2 school crossing guards And this is basically due to the ability, we cannot fill these positions. The two positions have been unfilled for over 3 years. Nobody wants the positions. We're carrying that cost. So we're eliminating it. We're keeping the full-time person we have right now. And we're going to install some blinking signs, school crossing signs. That'll be put on timers, and we'll try and see how that works. We're also going to look at eliminating a vacant full-time worker in the departments of streets and traffic. In the streets department, we have had one position that has been vacant since I started here in November of 2022. Nobody puts in for that position. So instead of carrying a vacant position on the books, we're eliminating that. Could use that money for cost-cutting measures, balance this budget. And the other one was the traffic control. We had 3 individuals here when I was here my first round. Then we went to 4. We lost our supervisor. He retired. I think we can continue with 3 and not stay at 4. We're going to try it, see how we go. We can add a cost of living adjustment for all full-time positions, for all salaried employees of 3% across the board. Big one is on our police officers. I know last year we provided a 3% or a $3,000 increase for all police officers. This year, I'm looking at what I'm calling as an inverted graduated amount. Just want to pass on to you that we have got to stay competitive and commensurate with our other Hamilton County cities, i.e. Red Bank, Saudi Daisy, Collegedale, Hamilton County. At the current time in this budget year, we are last. Every city I just mentioned, Red Bank, Saudi, Collegedale, Hamilton County, and all making more than what our police officers are. So that's why we're looking at to bring those salaries up to be commensurate with these cities. We lose officers from East Ridge to go to these other cities because they make more money. So we're looking at the inverted graduated figures. Police officers would receive $3,822, and then the higher ranks would receive a lot less than that. We don't have a problem with the higher ranks. We have a problem with the police officers. So when we look at what we're proposing for 24-25, police officer will get the raise, will get the cost of living, will raise them from $50,603 to $56,000. That basically puts us in the middle. Basically to say, though, Red Bank and Collegedale and Hamilton County will still be ahead of us, but at least we'll be in the mix and we'll be competitive. And we're also looking at establishing a performance evaluation system. This one we want to put into effect July 1st, 2024. The system that we are looking at is a merit increase system from 0 to 2% based on their evaluation. The total cost to the general fund is $80,000 on this. Salary adjustments, you have a listing in the front of your budget, the salary adjustments. And the other item I did have on here was we just found this out last week, and a lot of this was done prior to that. Our medical insurance through Cigna is going up 10%, effective July 1st, I believe it is. July 1st. That's going to cost the city an additional $162,000 to be able to do that. We did do some comparison with some of the other health providers out there. We were looking at anywhere from 5 to 7%. However, it was not cumulative as far as the hospitals were concerned. They had Park Ridge. They had, kind of just lost it. Park Ridge CHI Memorial Hospital was left out. So we are opting to stay with Cigna with that increase. It actually started at 17%. We brought it down to 10. That takes care of the personnel side. On the operational expenses, just some of the ones that increased, we had contract services increased predominantly due to the audit services, an additional $15,000. Cyber insurance, that was a new one that we had last year to acquire insurance towards cyber attacks on the city's computer system. Clothing and uniforms went up predominantly in the fire department for bunker gear replacement and uniforms as well, and recreational sports programs for uniforms for Park and Recreation Department. Operating supplies, the two areas there were animal control, additional supplies, and also arena, which were replacement of chairs and tables. Computer IT, for police, fire, building, and library, we were looking at modest increases of about $20,000. It's proposed purchase of 10 new laptops for the police department, replacement of 5 towers and 2 laptops for the library, and software programs for the fire department. And the other ones are not that great of one. On page 8, the officials, referees, umpires, just want to mention that one. We had a substantial increase in the operating of $38,600. This is basically due to the increase in the sports team play and the increase in games. But if you also remember too, we're bringing in $113,000 more in revenue with these programs and activities. So the officials, referees, and umpires certainly will be absorbed within that increase. Moving to capital outlay, we're proposing 2024-25, an amount of $563. Those are noted further down on page 8 of police department, replacement of 10 vehicles. 6 of them were 214 Dodge Chargers. The other 4 were older Dodge Chargers and Journey. Fire department, replacement of a 2000 Jeep Cherokee or a 2012 Ford Taurus, one or the other. We're going to replace that with a used truck. Street department, a mower replacement. Traffic signal, we need a new central control box in case one of those out there goes down in 2024-25. And in recreation, we're looking at a replacement mower, a replacement gator, and shade structure of $14,000 for the splash pad. It's hot in June, July, and August, and we've had a request for more, some shade out there. So we're going to get put in for a shade structure for the splash pad. On page 9, we're looking at the debt service. The first one comes out of these respective departments. The police department, or the tasers, financed over 5 years. The fire department was $106,316 for the fire engine, and the street department was the street sweeper of $34,300. That is our last payment. Transfers to other funds. 24-25 general fund budget to other city funds. This is for the purpose of providing dollars for the debt service. All 3 of these are border region dollars that we come in, we dispense them or transfer them as follows. So of the amount that we're bringing, in of $8,597,436, we're going to transfer $1,387,172 to debt service fund to pay off the annual debt we have for the infrastructure projects that we have done. We're going to transfer $6.787 million to the Economic Development Border Region Fund to disperse annual financial incentive payments to those that have development agreements with the City of East Ridge. And we're going to transfer $276,657,000 from the general fund to the capital improvement fund. So that pretty much hits the general operating fund. We're sticking at 1.25 as far as our millage rate. We're looking at a bright future. I don't see us looking at increasing our millage rate for the years ahead either. We're living within our means, and I think we're doing a good job. We're providing the same level of service and continuing level of service that we have been for the past years. On the special funds, I'll just briefly go over these. The State Street Aid Fund, that fund pretty well accounts for the monies coming in under the state gas and motor fuel tax and what we call the TIP, Transportation Improvement Funds. We're looking at monies coming in, $570,000 for the state gas, and along with the other additions, we're looking at projected revenues of $1 million, almost $1.3 million. These funds we utilize for street-related costs and public improvements as street construction, resurfacing, curbs, sidewalks, and drainage. Following page 10, we look at where this is looking at being appropriated to. Proposed lighting, $225,000, traffic signal repairs, John Ross Road, which is our portion, and street paving and maintenance, $500,000. Keep that $500,000 in the back of your head, because that's going to increase. Under a grant fund, these funds come in as grants are approved and received by the city. We don't have a lot in our fund balance is $12,425, but as funds come in and we get them, then we disperse them. But they all go through the grant fund for accountability purposes. Drug Investigation Fund, this is a special restrictive fund established to account for those resources received from federal, state grants, seizures, awards from the court, Department of Justice forfeitures, drug fines, and sale of confiscated property. So we're looking at $204,402, and we have appropriations proposed for next fiscal year for education training, clothing, uniforms, operating supplies, machinery and equipment, for example, our cages, our mounting brackets for radios, and computers for the new vehicles. Talked about the Economic Development Fund. This pretty well accounts for the financial activity of the Border Region Redevelopment District as it relates to the state sales taxes that are generated within the 950 acres of the district. The balance we will have in this account will be $8,174,869 designated to this fund, and will be dispensed or dispersed as follows: our financial incentives to the businesses, the transfer to the debt service to pay the bonded indebtedness. Page 11, the solid waste management. This governs our garbage and refuse collection and disposal services for the city. Our sanitation assessment fees coming in at $1.580 million. So our total revenues, including recycling, dumpster rentals, sale of mulch, is a total of $1.641 million. The existing fee at resident pays or homeowner pays at the present time is $180 per year. I think we are fine this year, but we should give serious consideration next year to looking at increasing that $1 to $1.50 to cover our increased expenses and recycling services. This year, we can stay at $180, but I do believe we're going to have to be looking at a higher additional fee next year, a slight one, not a large one. The expenditures to operate the refuse include personnel costs of $824,000, landfill fees for $300,000, and then the contract operating services round out the balance of $515,000. Our debt service fund is a special fund established to account for our financial resources for restricted or committed to the expenditure of principal and interest on our long-term general obligation debt. Our hotel motel tax anticipated along with interest income and transfers to and from the general incremental state sales tax of $1.731 million will give us $2.5 million for expenditure in the debt service fund. This will take care of all the debt that I've mentioned in that last paragraph, and which is outlined on page 108 in more specifics of the 6 debt services that we have to finance, that we'll be responsible for paying in 2024-25. Our capital improvements program fund, this accounts for and reports the proceeds of specific revenue sources that are committed to the expenditure for specified purposes or projects. Our revenue stream on this one has a fund balance for the 2022 GO bond issue, proceeds of about $4 million. Hamilton County, we're looking at $1 million appropriation from them regard to the North Mac Smith Road reconstruction project. We're also looking at going out in the next 3 or 4 months for appropriation for proposed 2024 general obligation bond with proceeds of about $8 million. Then we're looking at the transfer for the general fund, border region sales. We talked about that earlier at $276,657 and a fund balance of $176 that we will have currently at the end of June of 2024. That will give us a projected revenue stream of over close to $13.5 million. What we're proposing on this would be upgrades to various city buildings. We have an appropriation for $400,000. A multi-purpose pavilion, $6 million, which is under design now. Our North Mac Smith Road reconstruction project, $4.5 million. Street resurfacing program, $937,976. We talked about, remember I said about the $500,000? We add that. And I just got an email from Jeff yesterday saying that of our road resurfacing program, we have $150,000 left over. So if we add those 3 together, we will end up with a road resurfacing program for next year of $1,588,000. Enhancements to Camp Jordan Park of $1,440,000. Some of those are done at the present time. The installation of above-ground fuel tank, I've got the bid set on that one. It's just going to depend on what we do with McBrien School, where the location of that tank is going to go. And then we have our annual appropriation to fund the facade grant program of $50,000. And lastly, our American Rescue Plan, fiscal year 21-22, the city received $3.1 million. 22-23, the city received $3.1 million. Where's all that money gone? You know, a good part of it is gone for the installation of drainage for Ringgold Road multimodal. The large $3 million are assigned or appropriated to the new enlarged animal shelter, and the balance of $436,171 will go towards North Mac Smith Road drainage project. So that is the budget in front of you. You've got on page 14 and 15, listing of all the employees, departments they're in, and then the breakdown of the budgets, organizational charts, which are basically the same as they were last year, and then the outstanding debt for the city. So, our proposed budget, annual budget is being submitted to you for your consideration for ultimate approval.
Well, I'll go first and say thank you, and thanks to all the staff and department heads, as you say in your conclusion here, for
I
all
forgot that.
your,
Thank you.
your, everyone's hard work on this. I know this is also daunting and challenging. So we
It's a team.
appreciate,
It's a team effort.
yes.
It's a team effort. We all work together to bring this a spending plan that we feel was worthy of your consideration. Will retain the level of services to the residents of the community at the same tax rate.
So I'll see if there's any immediate questions, but I'm also, as I mentioned last council meeting, we want to take the questions we have, because I've asterisk a few things, and I've got some questions. Do we want to have a budget workshop, which we've done in the past, or do you want to have your questions directed directly to the city manager? Not tomorrow, he's off. But in the coming weeks. So what is the desire, if there's any immediate questions, we'll take them tonight, but what is your desire to proceed with answering your questions concerning this year's budget? A workshop, or do you want to just reach out to the city manager directly?
I personally would like to reach out to the city manager personally, because, y'all know me, I've got questions, and I've got one tonight too. Something I had never heard come up on the budget tonight that I had never heard before in the prior budgets. This about the duplexes, owner occupied, being zoned from, I say, commercial to residential.
Yes.
Okay, being taxed, all right, does that work on, owner occupied triplexes, apartment houses with fourth,
Only duplexes,
Only duplexes.
as I am informed. I kind of fell out of my chair too when I got the listing that I provided to the council, and I'm looking it down and I'm going, why are duplexes you make money? I mean, but if you live in one side and you rent the other, it's assessed at 25. If you rent both of them, they define it as a commercial venture, and it's assessed at 40%.
still classified as R2 instead of commercial?
Doesn't matter whether it's zoned, whether if it's,
Okay,
if
okay.
basically, we had an awful lot of them, and I kind of fell out of my chair when I saw the list. I go, what the heck? And then, but when I called the property appraiser's office, she explained it to me.
We got a lot of duplexes that are just rented and not our owner occupied, but if I owned one or two, I'd say, I live in one side and my wife lives in the other side.
That'd be 25, but see, you only have
Yeah.
to live on one side.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
if I had two duplexes, she lives in the other one, I live in the other.
You wouldn't do that, Jack.
No, I wouldn't. I'm a landlord.
So,
And quit putting ideas in people's head.
But that's the first time I'd ever heard that, so that's the reason why I was asking.
how do they determine that the owner lives on the property?
Bottom line is,
Honor system?
it's through, it's through an appeal procedure. The appeal procedures go through the state process, and they make an appeal to say, hey, I live here. They must have to show proof that they live there, and by an electric bill, a power bill, or whatever that has their name on it, and so they get knocked down from a 40% to a 25%.
So the duplexes that pay the water bill and the electric bill is coming to the landlord's name, so he's got proof he lives there.
It's like one of those, it's like bringing up what constitutes residency.
Yeah.
It's just a touchy situation.
Well, and unfortunately, it's out of our control. That's handled at the county level, at the state level.
County level, the
Yeah.
county level, they follow the state guidelines in regard to the appeals. We received a lot of appeals this time, more than I expected. The appeal process is not over. It's my understanding that they can still put additions and subtractions to the appraised value up until the middle of August. That's the cutoff. The middle of August is the cutoff, as I understand. Anything after that, the building is not completed, doesn't go into tax rolls until the following year.
All right. So you want to do a one-on-one? What's the other council? What's their, fine with that? Okay. Is there any other questions concerning the budget that you have tonight? I see none. All right, that concludes the regular agenda. So the next item is discussion of the tentative agenda for May 23rd, 2023. Under old, there is no old business. Under new business is an unnumbered ordinance. Amendments to ordinance 481 relating to ordinance 1028, the Eastridge sign ordinance. This will be the first reading. Mr. Howell?
Yes, Mayor and Council. So staff is looking at amending ordinance 481 in relation to ordinance 1028. 1028, the East Ridge sign ordinance with the following stipulations, regulations. Lighting regulations to business storefronts, storefront signage, and multi-tenant detached monument signs. The East Ridge Planning Commission reviewed the proposed amendments and made additional changes during the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Council, do you have any questions at this time?
Yeah, I do. I noticed that during the planning commission meeting, Commissioner Tuggle had brought up the concern for open signs, and I know that it ultimately was amended for that. Does this include like neons for, like, say, beer signs? I know that there are a couple of the restaurants down Ringgold Road that have like Bud Light neons, and would that fall under this particular ordinance?
It would. It would.
May I interject something?
Sure.
I know this item is pending for May 23rd. However, I would ask the council that we push this off until June. I know several members of the council up here have some questions. They want to do some on-site up and down Ringgold Road to take a look at these items more in depth before we put it on an agenda for discussion and consideration for approval.
Okay,
Sounds good to me.
that's good to you. Okay. All right, we can, I made a note that one will be pushed to June. Nothing else on that one. The next item is an unnumbered resolution approval of an agreement with Kimberly Horn to provide grant administration and design services for the LPRF grant for the community center. Mr. McAllister?
Yes, that is going to be for the LPRF grant at the community center. It's for grant administration and design services. Staff and I have met with the 4 firms that submitted a statement of qualifications, for the RFQ that we put out on this. We interviewed 4 firms and selected Kimberly Horn. They have extensive experience and background in grant administration and design services. And in addition, they have partnered with HK Architects, who have previously done design and surveying plans on the community center and the pavilion project, along with the road realignment. So we are looking to ask the mayor and the council for approval on a contract once we receive those and we negotiate a price that fits within the grant contract.
Thank you, sir. Council, do you have any questions? I see none. The next item is another unnumbered resolution, approval of bids for installation of exterior siding and painting, sanitation street building, bids open May 14th, 2024. Yes, sir.
Yeah, City has advertised for bids for the replacement of the exterior siding and the painting of the sanitation and streets building on Yale Street. The bids are set to open on May 14th, and looking at presenting them to the City Council for consideration at the May 23rd meeting.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, council? I see none. The next 2 I'll cover at once. So there's 2 unnumbered resolution. It's an appointment to the IDB, the Industrial Development Board, for Councilmember Witt, and there's also one for Councilmember Cagle. Any questions? All right, the next item is another unnumbered resolution, waive fee for Optimus Club meeting at Community Center. Giles?
Yes, Mayor and Council. I have 3 of them grouped together for the upcoming meetings, arena rental, and the City Hall parking lot here. So the East Ridge Optimus Club uses the community center on a 12-month rotation, twice a month, and they meet from 6 to 8. Since we updated our policies last year, we have, again, given this policy to all the clubs. The Optimus Club has just now, again, turned everything into us, so I will be seeking council's approval to approve them for using the community center monthly. Also for Camp Jordan Arena, the Optimus Club has their annual Car for Kids show. I will be seeking council's approval for that fee to be waived. And then for their barbecue that will be held out here in the front parking lot, I don't think we've ever charged for the parking lot, but we still wanted to bring it in front of council, again, since it's on city property, so that we do get council's approval and we're good to move forward.
Thank you. That's the other two resolutions that are mentioned on your agenda. So
Yes.
is there any questions on any of those three this time? I see none. Thank you, ma'am. That is all we have on, for the tentative agenda for May 23rd.
One question, Mayor.
I'm sorry, that's, yes.
Back when we was talking about the, let me find it here. Sign ordinance. Okay, I'd like to get a copy of the, sign ordinance that was discussed back when these neon lights were approved to be put in the windows, and to see what was passed back then.
I think that was done in 2017 or 18 was the mic. I remember doing that when I was here
Yeah.
first time.
And I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was there, they don't think we had anything in.
I don't think we
So
did.
there wasn't anything passed, it just was, it wasn't considered.
I know
So-
it was brought in front of us.
Well, I know light, the
Because
density
there
of light for, signs, message center type signs, not the lights that go around the doors and the windows.
There was a discussion about whether they could put them outside the window or inside the window.
That I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll have to look into that if,
because some of them were wanting to put them outside. And then I don't know where they've got them now, but I know they're bright and, but the discussion was about outside or inside the big picture windows, I call them, so.
do you remember approximately when that was?
No, I don't. I could probably go home and find it, but
I'm just curious if you remember. All right, anything else? I see nothing. Thanks everyone for attending.